Hey there. So I want to give a little bit of quick advice just from me personally on what I think about schooling, education, how you should learn photography to become the best you can be. All right, good. So first off, I never went to a photography course, school, class, university, all this kind of stuff. I personally dropped out before the end of high school. Call me dumb, but that's what I did. Now, in my opinion, all right, because I'm like self-taught, yeah, and you know, like there are many like stories, not just with this art form, but with education in general. It's like, you know, why is it that some people are against going to like formal training and schooling and all this sort of thing, and they might drop out, and then like you hear the big successful business people of the world, like Albert Einstein or Bill Gates or all the Elon Musk, all these people that basically went against the system of education and still became like these big things. And then you might hear stories of people who, they went through 6-7 years of university and got all this knowledge and all this kind of stuff. And they come out and they can't even find a job sometimes. Like what's the dealio? Is the right thing to go to school, or is the right thing not to go to school? Like, what's the point of school if apparently, even sometimes you leave at the end of it and you can't do what you were taught even. Isn't this a fascinating sort of dilemma? So anyway, I'm just going to give you my personal view on this. First of all, there's absolutely nothing wrong with going to school. Okay? Or formal education. Okay? I never went to an official photography course before. And there are many times in my life where I wish I did. I wish I did, because I wish I knew I had learnt that technique earlier. I wish that, it would have been handy to learn these things, these lineup of, the basics and all this sort of thing. However, I will tell you what I believe to be missing in a lot of formal training, education, these sorts of things. And it may be the answer to why sometimes the most creative and genius people are not the ones who went through school. Okay? This is what I've observed, right? Okay, good. So you go to school, say in photography, we'll take, to learn the techniques of photography. You go to a course and da-da-da, and you will learn, okay, where do you put your light? What settings do you put your camera on? Why do these settings mean what they do, and what's the result you get from that? Okay, good. There's nothing wrong with that. That is very useful information. That's also why you watch YouTube videos, so you can get these little tips and tricks, stuff like that. A course is just a big accumulation of all these things in a sequential order from the basics to more advanced stuff. That's great. Good. Do it. Do it. The thing to look out for, though, especially in a creative field, right? If you're learning engineering, computer science, very exact technical subjects, then good. You read the textbook and you apply it like the textbook says, and if it works like that, then it works like that. And that's probably the way you should do it. Because someone else learned it before you, they wrote down, here's the rules, follow these rules. Good. If you follow those rules, does that work? If it does, good. Follow the book. I have nothing against that. But when it comes to creation, ideas, imagination, art, you've just got to be wary of one thing. If you're not aware of this, you can get into trouble. If you're aware of it, then you can do all the courses you want, and you will not, you will maintain this little thing It's a little X factor, right? And that thing is, as an artist, you want to learn, it's handy to learn as much technical knowledge as much how to, if you're a painter, how do you do your brush strokes, whatever, just a random example there. But don't fall into the trap of mentally and creatively yourself having your imagination put into a tunnel vision of this is the way that it must be done. If you're building a bridge, there are exact laws which were discovered of, how much weight goes into what's the balance like, and if you don't follow those laws, the bridge will fall down, basically. But that's not the case when it comes to art, photography, acting, video, painting, dance, all these sorts of things. You learn the technical stuff, as in the exact mechanical to get a result, but don't let it put a cap in creative fields on your own imagination. Because an artist is an individual and he has individual ideas, and that's what makes it special. Why do you watch me on YouTube when there's literally hundreds of other photographers who make YouTube videos just like mine? Why do you look at me and not them? Or why am I interesting in a way that's different to them? It's because I'm me and they are them. And I have things that make me unique and they have things that make them unique. And there are a bajillion different painters in the world. And you like them all for their own specific reasons. And the only painter you will not probably appreciate is the painter who is exactly the same as 1,000 other painters. Or you could have 1,000 painters that are all different in their own special ways, and then you can appreciate individually every one of those 1,000 painters. And the only time that education or an educational system can go wrong is when they teach people so much and make it so confining in the rules you must follow that the imagination is lost, that the creative freedom is lost. It's perfectly a great idea to know what colors go together well. Sure? But with art, who says that the sky's the limit? The universe is the limit. Your imagination is the limit. So just keep that in mind. You can accumulate as much data as you like, but do not lose your individuality. Do not lose your power of choice. Do not lose the fact that you are unique and have your own view that is different to everyone else's. You are powerful so long as you remain an individual. You lose yourself literally when you behave or act or have the same thinkingness as everybody else. And sometimes it can be a bit daunting to kind of really just stand up and say, hey, I think this, and that's not quite what they think. This subject could be a lot broader, but do you get what I'm saying? So yes, learn as much as you possibly can, but just don't forget that point, because so long as you maintain your own individualness, your own viewpoint, your own originality, people will respect you and people will take an interest in you. But if you look exactly like blah-de-blah, then you will look exactly like blah-de-blah. And what's the difference? Why would I look at you if you're like this guy and I'll just look at that guy? You know what I'm saying? So there's just a tip, all right? Keep that in mind. and be yourself.